Hello there from the future. Before the true greetings happens, I just want to say that this video is a little bit weird. The start of the video, I'm just talking about the rocket launchers and everything else. But after a while, I end up designing something I am really, really proud of. So stay tuned. It gets a bit interesting by the end. Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Nimbatus with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to the day where we finally just focus on getting some new weapons. No real building today, we're just going to complete a load of missions, get through the galaxy, and hopefully by the end, we will have the ultimate of one type of weapon. Now, I'm really thinking we should focus on rockets. They used to be my least favourite, and at the moment, honestly, maybe they are my true favourites. After all the updates, they just seem to be way more fun to use. So let's go over to the weapon workshop and find out exactly what we're going to need. So there we are with the regular swarm missiles. Let's just make some new ones here. There we go. Rocket launcher. So let's just call it Boom for now. So what do we actually want? Well, honestly, I think the main thing which I really want to mess around with is the heat-seeking rockets and the homing rockets. Yeah, they are definitely what I want to mess around with. So let's go ahead and grab Rocket Force improvements. Rocket Force improvement again. This is costing us a fair bit, and hopefully, there we go, we've got all of those instantly. So the first thing I really want to test out is the heat-seeking rockets. I want to see if they work against the organic life, or is it just going to be the machines, or is it going to be the opposite? I want to know how the game handles that. So let's just go ahead and put down the heat-seeking, and then let's go with minus energy and extra duration. There we are. Nice and simple. In fact, I'm going to be really lazy and just change the ones I already have. That way I don't need to replace anything. Lazy? Yes. Efficient? Kind of. So this is the Destroy the Snake Egg world. So all I'm really after here is the transmitter and its guardians. I'm assuming... Wow, that looks creepy as anything. I'm assuming the eggs don't activate the missiles. No, of course they don't. That would be a little bit weird. But I will just go ahead and do that anyway. So, let's find ourselves a transmitter. Hello, enemies! And yeah, they do vaguely arc towards the enemy, though not massively so. Oh, come on! Well, I'm dead. So yes, they do work against the machines. That was to be expected, honestly. And they don't work against the turrets. Nope. And they don't work against anything else here. Okay. Okay. We've done the test. We've done the science. Don't kill me. So now, let's go and find a planet which has a few more organic life forms. Just after the regular swarms here. Okay, destroy hives. We'll do a test here, and then we'll test out against some of the lava creatures. I'm curious to see if they would work against that. I mean, it makes sense. They are very, very warm, but also the background is very warm. So can you really find the difference there? We will find out very, very soon. Hello. And nope, it does not work against these fellows. Well, I guess they are cold-blooded. So I'm assuming that's going to be true for all organic life. That's a shame. That does... Okay, how about you guys? I did want to find you, so... Yep, didn't seem to work either. So, swing and a miss there. Finally, let's go to a lava world and test versus that. So what I'm after really are the hammerheads. If it works versus the hammerheads, it might be worth it on its own. Though saying that, I feel like the mouse-controlled versions, the homing rockets, might be a bit better for that, since you can literally angle them to get behind the enemy. Wow, angled frost missiles. This is cool. Hello there. So once again, we can test out versus these guys. And yep, they definitely arc, although not majorly. Must say, I am a little bit disappointed in that. Maybe the larger enemies in the other modes might be a bit better, but against these little fellows, not all that useful. Come on, just die. Thank you. Now, the last one we were here. Yep, there they are. Well, anything? Didn't seem like it. Oh no, maybe it did. It's hard to tell, but I don't think so. No, the ones just about missing continue on their arc. Okay. So it is just the machines. That makes sense. I just wanted to be sure. So next, let's test out the homing variant. Now, the next upgrade I want is over here. Big explosion and cluster explosion. So, in fact, both of them are over here. So, let's grab the extra lifetime. So, now they last even longer. There we are. Can we afford these already? Yes, we can. Lovely and lovely. We can afford everything straight away. Well, that's just glorious. How about that? Big explosion plus cluster explosion plus homing rockets. The problem is that will make them way more expensive. Or we could, okay, now, follow me here. If we go with the 2 duration upgrades, this is the first one we're going to test, it means when we fire them, they're going to stack up. Wow, they really don't follow the mouse very quickly, do they? Ah. Okay, once again, not majorly impressed there. I thought they were going to be a little bit faster in the tracking of the mouse. So the idea I was going to go with is, with all that extra lifetime, we could sort of stack them up and then have loads of them and then release them as a just devastating alpha strike. But I don't think that's really going to work out as intended. So instead, we're going to stick with making them absolutely horribly deadly. So let's go with you, and then let's go with the damage upgrade instead. I can't afford the next one, obviously, because I am now poor. So there we are. Cluster explosion, big explosion, bonus damage. And let's go into the test mode. Wow, they bounce. Here, enemies, enemies, enemies. Don't be scared. It's just old Laffy boy. Hello! Oh, that's a shame. It looks like big explosion may remove the cluster explosion. I mean, other way around, the cluster is negating the big explosion. That is a shame. Hello. That is a shame. Okay, then in that case, let's remove cluster and add extra damage. Or perhaps minus energy again, so we can really spam them when we use a drone properly for this. Could still make them free of charge. No, let's stay with that. Wait, that's big explosion? Really? I'm definitely editing the right one, right? I am being slightly underwhelmed at the moment. Must be said. Yep, definitely the correct ones. Okay, what I'm going to do is add a couple of the other rockets, the ones without the bigger explosion, which I just made without naming. So these are the heat-seeking, just regular ones. Bind them to a different key, and let's see the difference. I feel like this would be good still during mining, but it's not that noticeable in combat at least. So these are the regular. Then these are the large. Yeah, you can definitely see the difference. It's just not as major as I expected it to be, that's all. So maybe they were working then during the cluster. Just firing the homing now. Yeah, not majorly sold on that, honestly. Which is a shame. So, remember when I said the idea of loading all the weapons and then simply releasing them wasn't really viable? Just did a really basic test a second ago, and actually maybe it is. So I might change my mind here, which is lovely. Then release them all, and as you can see, it's just an absolute bitrate destroying hail of death. My god, this video is going to look like a blur on YouTube. I've tried 3 different ways of rendering these videos. YouTube just does not like them. Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Never mind. Love the weapon. Changed my mind completely. Only took like 5 seconds. Now, one thing I do want to change, though, is I do want to increase their duration. So what I'm going to do is remove the energy modifier completely, which is a real shame, and instead have the double lifetime. This should mean, go into test mode without enemies for a second, should mean now, and wait for this whole thing to blur, we should be able to just keep on firing and 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 firing. And then once they start to detonate... Absolute... Whoa! Yes. Although I think I am going to remove cluster as well. Cluster is great and all, but that initial damage is enough, and the cluster's just hitting the air, essentially. So, what do I want instead of cluster? I could make the rockets slower. That would make them probably follow the mouse better. Wow, would you really want to slow down the shots, though? Maybe. So what do we want instead? Just bonus damage? Maybe bonus digging. That way we could destroy the world itself with this type of weapon, but I don't think that's the best option. Maybe just big explosion. Big explosion, maybe even more lifetime. Yeah, increase lifetime again. And once again, I'm sorry for the blurriness of this video. Just going to keep on using these until I see the first one explode. Charging. Charging! Now! That is really cool for how few weapons we actually have. Let's stick with that. Let's stick with that, and let's go and do some missions with it, shall we? Hello there, Mr. Hammerhead. Let's see if this works then. We are, of course, using the Frost variant for this. Just wait. And release! Well, if I had any friends, they would probably be frozen too. In fact, it did freeze this one over here. I used Blizzard. It's super effective. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, yeah, I am now sold on it. But I think more for a fun weapon than a practical one. But now I do kind of want to slow them down. Wow, if you slow them down enough, it would be like a single ball of energy, which you can... Okay, never mind. We need to slow them down. We need to. So let's go ahead and go back to our harvesting worm, and let's find a nice planet to exploit. What do you need? Destroy lava bomber caves. Okay, yep, we can do this one. So let's... Instead of the worm, though, for these ones, it's best if we use the dual drone. Purely because the worm can't actually dig through the ground on these planets, on the lava planets, without TNT, so not the best. I'll be right back once I have some money. I didn't even get to harvest anything because I have had an idea. I have had an idea and I really, really hope this works. So, the whole reason why that's such a cool concept with the rockets is that you can cool down an avalanche of shots on your location. Well, what if you had a drone following the main drone above you? Now, I don't know if this is going to work, honestly, but if it does, I think it's going to be incredibly cool. So this is going to be released straight away. In fact, no, that would be terrible, because right now it's attached to everything else. Might need to use a different drone for this, so let's swap over to another one. So the concept is, we have a drone which follows the main drone way in the sky, way in the atmosphere, which can then rain down all of these rockets at will. That way, the main drone doesn't need any weapons on it, it's just there purely as a harvester or however else we're going to use it, at least on the surface where it's safe. But this all only works if one of the sensors works in the way I think it does. And I could have worded that better, but too bad. So here we go, let's just add the decoupler with a basic control. Let's go back to the sensors, there we are. So with the sensors, we have the option for this. Gravity, cursor, drone core. Now what I'm hoping is that drone core will always be functional, regardless what's happening. Even if it's simply split. So let's just do this. And does the eye follow me? Yes, it does. Fantastic. So that can control left and right. And then we have a different sensor to keep it balanced, and then one final sensor to keep it at a certain altitude. So we're just going along, and this thing is following along above us, and then, at will, we just rain down utter hell upon the landscape. It's air support. I love this idea. This is going to work. This is actually going to work. Oh, I'm so happy with this idea. Yes. Nimbatus does have the ability to make me really happy with possibilities. And as someone who's not the most creative, even I can do this, which is so freaking awesome. I've got a big smile on my face right now because if this works out, I think it's going to work out. It's going to be maybe my all-time favorite creation. Oh, I am pleased. Okay, so next then we need the final sensor, which is just going to be you. And let's pop you down, just because I want it to be symmetrical. Let's just do 2 of them, and let's have altitude of 30, I guess. The old bombing drones used to be at 50, I think. Doesn't matter, we'll find out that soon enough. And then we can have a couple of thrusters, which just mean it goes up and or down. So I'll test these out. There we are, there we are. And then finally we'll add weapons in a second. And does this work? Yes, it does. Now, it should be a bit slower than me, so let's give it a few seconds. I'll make sure it's faster in a second. And I am keeping on homing, because it means I can more accurately hit an area. And I should still be able to charge them up, right? If I give it enough time to slow down, yeah, I can still do that if I want to, but obviously we don't really need to now that we can fire from the air anyway. And that is awesome. That is really awesome. If I leave these on fixed controls, now this is more just a style choice. It means that they're going to fire from the sides. So, will that look cooler, since they are homing rockets? Will they be able to catch up in time? Let's say I want to hit here. Not enough time to catch up. Okay, yeah, definitely better just have cursor. It's now time to test out the prototype. So I've made a few changes, the first of which is this. So there we are, pure damaging rockets. But then, if I want to freeze the enemy, or freeze this rock for instance, pure frost rockets. And the damaging rockets have the bonus damage in addition to being kinetic, which does more damage anyway. Uh-oh, there are enemies over there. Freeze! Oh, help me, thank you. Lovely. Oh, look at him just bounce around. Uh-oh. Both at once. There we are, maximum damage. Although that will burn through the energy reserves fairly quickly. But yeah, this way, I mean, there's no limit to how big this thing could be, the satellite. You could have pretty much every weapon type if you so desired. Seems to follow really well. Can I outpace it, or... No, it's faster than me. That is wonderful. That is so much better than I expected it to be. So, let's go out and let's do some harvesting. Hello, enemy. Takes a little bit of getting used to with the weird angle the rockets are sort of coming down from. But eventually that'll be okay. Ooh, that's annoying. Around the resource, let's just slowly edge the attack further towards the enemy. Also now learning that not every single lava world has the really hard to dig world, land, ground, rocky pieces. What I like about this is once you're done killing all the enemies on the surface, you can just harvest nice and easily with this drone. It's nice and quick. Oh, hello. Also feels like when you stop, it's good to give it a second to get directly above you again, since it will slightly overshoot. And then run back into position. Hello. Now, of course, the issue with this drone is it can't help you underground. Ooh, pro! Bad, bad, bad! We just lost... Why did that explode? Lovely. I mean, it can help you underground if there's a giant gap above you, but still. Suppose you could have a version of this which actually follows you, but that'd be a bit more complex and a bit more unwieldy. Unwieldy? Unwieldy? I don't know how that word is said. Excellent. I'll grab you. I'll be having you there, sunshine. Thank you very much. And then we've harvested the surface. All worked out as planned. A rare and beautiful thing. Testing now on a different planet. And yeah, it works out just fine. And that was the homing missiles doing their thing. Ooh, hello. I'll be accepting that, thank you very much. Excuse me, can you please kill these guys? Thank you very much. And now make a hole here so I can get through. Maybe need a bit more power. There we are. Something has occurred to me. I think at this point, I'm now realizing just how much potential this idea has. In fact, I think it's going to be maybe one of my most used things. Because right now, as you can see, it's no longer following the drone, it's now following the cursor. And this works fine, because the cursor can never go further than your screen, so it will always follow the drone still, but you can be very, very specific on where it is. This means you could drop bombs, for instance. So if I'm all the way down here, and the reason why it's so low is because the altitude sensor is a little bit weird in the test mode. It seems like what counts as the planet is quite far down there. Anyway, we could have it dropping bombs on a specific location. So it's over there, then you drop TNT from a factory on the drone, which perhaps even has thrusters. So it drops TNT and detonates a huge area, which I think will be amazing. Another use we could have, which I think would be even more useful, is that the drone could have magnets on the bottom, and then the main drone could have these resource storage sections, release them onto the follower drone, and then go back to mining, and if it has a factory, it means it can keep on making the storage, and then keep on giving them to the magnet drone. Then we go back over to the Nimbatus, turn off the magnet, and deposit all of the resource. Therefore, you are never, ever going to run out of resources. Now that's something I think a fair few commenters have mentioned before, but I didn't quite know how I would do that, and well, now I clearly do, and that is amazing. We could also have it with different weapon types, we could have it holding smart rockets, so I release them with TNT on them, and then they glide into position, so it's a bit more of a fast response version than the bombing version. There's just so much potential here. And we still need to play around with the rockets! With that, though, I'm afraid I am all out of time for today's episode. In the next episode, we are going to dedicate the episode to the rocket launchers and to this design. So essentially, another episode similar to this, but now we've got the prototype. Let's make some finished products. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Nimbatus is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.